Hi crafters, this is Jan Gray with What You Make It, and I am here today to share some of the techniques that I have been showing you in some of my mini albums. There are just tons of things that at least I think you can do with all of those acrylic shapes and letters and gosh, the frames and really so much that you can do that I kind of went on a quest to see what all I could do and what all I could do with them, and I found that there are several things that we can do to update them and freshen them up. So I want to take the time and introduce you to some of my favorite techniques. I'm going to show you really quickly here a few of the ones that I like to do, particularly on these Heidi Swapp ghost letters. I have a lot of these, and so I have found that giving them some texture freshens them up, makes them look brand new. And that, again, down here I have another Heidi Swapp letter that I took and I used a stamp on and then added it to the layout that I had done, and it was just a nice added touch because it was a monogram, but then instead of it being totally invisible because of its clarity, the stamping on it actually made it work, I think, a little better. We'll talk about doing that. In my mini album that I did for my Christmas gift for my sister, I used letters and did alcohol ink and then added some, in here it was dictionary paper, and then did some additional stamping. And I've had several of you say that you would like to learn more about that, so we will do that technique as well. In that same project, I had a tag that was holding other tags, and it had this star on it, and I had several people say that it looked like it was done maybe along stained glass. Did I have to solder it? Nope. Again, it's just acrylic, and I can show you how to do that particular technique as well. So we'll work on that. Two other things that I was going to show you. With your Sizzix dies, you can cut shapes out in frames, and we can really kind of add the cool factor to them. It kind of looks like that melted glass, and then add some paper behind them or some text behind them, or who knows what you would come up to add behind it, but it just takes them to the next level. And I thought I would also show you that I am working on a mini book for my brother-in-law, and on this one I used many of the techniques that I'm going to show you in the others, but just brought them all together and actually did some embossing actually on the acetate, on the acrylic. And I'll give you some instructions, some guidelines on how to do that successfully. So I hope you'll join in and learn maybe a new technique. And if you have one that you do that we don't cover, I hope you'll drop a comment and help us know what you do, because I think it can all be very fun. So let me get things put away, and I'll be right back to get started with our first technique. So for our first technique, I want to keep it very simple. Make sure that we all feel really comfortable with the basic techniques. And for this one, I'm going to show you stamping on the acrylic shape. And I find that using a mouse pad, I add that under almost all of my stamping because I like the little bit of extra give that it provides me. So I put my piece of acetate or acrylic there that I want to stamp. Now I have found that there are two kinds of stamps that really work the best. One would be something that is solid, repetitive. You could do dots, you could do squares, repeated words like this one is love, 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 love. That works really well. The other thing that works well are stamps that are flourishes, just because they can go on and off the element and it kind of gives a sense of motion. That doesn't mean that anything else would not work. I've just want to say those are the things that have worked the best. When I'm working on when I'm working on acrylic, I always use StazOn. I have heard that Ranger archival ink would also work well, but I have not personally used it in this circumstance, so I can't tell you for sure that it would. So I'm going to do that. And for this little project, I'm also going to show you using the Acrylic gold leafing pen. It's something that I think just adds a nice touch to many of these kinds of projects, so I keep it around as well. So to do my stamping, I'm going to use StazOn, and you can use StazOn ink in any of the colors that StazOn makes it in. They make a wide range of colors, but you want to make sure you've got your stamp nice and juicy. And one of the reasons that I like using my black mouse pad is that every place that I stamp over is going to just disappear. So I start at the bottom of my element and I stamp, and it's usually pretty sticky. So I bring it back down and I realize I need to move up just a skosh, which is, I think, bigger than a schmear. And there we go. Solvent ink like StazOn dries very, very quickly. And so you can quickly begin to work on your element with other things. So I'm going to add the leafing pen. This looks pretty much like your other leafing pens or other paint pens that you can get at the store. Krylon makes them, but this one actually has an 18 karat gold color. There's an antique gold. They have a silver, a copper, and I believe maybe a bronze, but I like using the 18 karat gold, particularly when I'm working on projects like for Valentine's Day or something like that. And for this, you press to get the flow going in the pen, and then you just let it run up against the edge, and it just puts a really, really nice edge to what we're doing. Just going to come right on around and hold that for just a second. There's our completed Love Stamp gold heart. So it gives us, let's go in for just a little bit of a close-up here. Do you see what that looks like? Isn't that a pretty element? I just think that's really, really lovely. So when we come back, I will show you how we're going to take that up a notch and do just a few more things to this